It's Friday night, it's 10 PM and it's time for Bulletproof Book Club. Look at all these people jumping on already. Sasha's here. Someone jumped in before that. I didn't see exactly who it was. We're going to give people a few minutes to join, guys. For those who are watching on the replay, thank you so much for joining us as well. You're not going to be able to, Nina's here. A few other people I just missed. You're not going to be able to comment on this if you're watching on the replay, like these people who are live are commenting tonight. So if you want to get on future scopes, then make sure you follow me on Periscope. It's at Ross A. Grant. Hello, Sasha, who says, hope you're having a good night. Hope you're having a good night as well. Good to see you here again. We're all very sad, Sasha. We stay on a Friday night, we drink coffee and read books, but it's all right because we're working today like no one else does, so tomorrow we can live like nobody else can. Check out me on time, says Sam. Well done, Sam. You're here on time. Good stuff. Kat is here as well, back early. Oh, Nina's back early. Yeah, Nina, you said you were out tonight, so you've rushed back in order for this. Madam Tosca is here. Good evening. Amazing. Good to see everybody. Like I say, yeah, those who watch on the replay, come and join live. You can comment like these guys can. It's loads of fun. We've got an awesome community here. If you're an actor particularly, I'm an actor, my name's Ross, I'm an actor and voiceover artist from Manchester. I scope 3 times a week. We talk about a lot of stuff that kind of relates to acting, but also relates to every single profession on the planet. You don't have to be an actor to implement this stuff in your life. I scope on a Monday and a Wednesday, something called Motivation and Mind Hacks. That's exactly what it sounds like. We look at how we can hack our life to gain more motivation, more productivity, get more done, achieve more, get further in our lives faster. And on a Friday, which is tonight, we do a book club, and tonight we're looking at this awesome book that I tease people with on Twitter today with a little video. It's called Steal the Show by an awesome guy called Michael Port, who actually used to be an actor. This is why I wanted to look at it, because I thought it was interesting. He used to be an actor, did a lot of voiceover as well. It was a lot of synergy with my life, really, and then he got into coaching, which is kind of the route I'm going down as well. He started coaching people, though, particularly on public speaking and confidence. And he's written this book called Steal the Show. It says how to guarantee a standing ovation for all the performances in your life, and that's from speeches to job interviews to deal closing pitches. So everybody, regardless of whether you're an actor or not, can use the things we're going to be talking about. The thing that made me kind of captivated and why I thought it'd be interesting for the book club, guys, is because Michael uses all of his acting skills in this book, presuming that non-actors are reading it. And he basically implements all the skills that he learned through acting into everyday situations to go, well, this is how you can use acting skills in your everyday life. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Like, I've been a professional actor for I don't know now, God, how many years? Like 11, 12 since I graduated from drama school. Mary, good evening. And I thought, I wonder how many of those skills that I use when I go to an audition or when I'm acting on set do I implement into my everyday life? And I presume subconsciously quite a lot of those things, but consciously I'm not too sure, how many of those kind of acting skills that we acquire we don't just leave in the audition room. How much of it do we actually implement into the rest of our lives? So Michael breaks down his book into 3 sections, and the first section is called the performer's mindset, and that's all about obviously getting into the mindset of a performer, which a lot of people watching this scope will probably already have, because a lot of people watching these are already performers. But then he in the part 2 of his book, it's called Powerful Performance Principles, and he actually covers 6 performance principles, and I want to go through these principles tonight and on the next few book clubs as well. I think it's nothing sometimes you think about because you just do it subconsciously sometimes. I think you do. I think we all as performers will have a natural kind of spark and energy around other people that non-performers probably will have to strive for and won't have naturally. But I don't know how consciously we implement our performance into everyday life. And that's not running around going, woohoo, jazz hands, look at me. But actually using the skills that we have as a performer, and to get messages across, to influence people, to convey a story. How much of that we actually, consciously use in everyday life. So the powerful performance principles that Michael talks about is having a clear objective. Something tonight that I want to talk about, which is the act as if rule. And for those who are part of my Bulletproof Actor mindset kind of confidence course that I released, a part of the mastermind group for that. If you're not part of that, go to bulletproofactor.com. You can get in on the next intake in April or May. We covered something called the act as if rule very briefly on a live training earlier this week, which is another reason I thought it's a bit of synchronicity going on here. I'm seeing these things crop up more than once. I should do a scope on it. Then he's got one called Raise the Stakes, Say Yes and Be in the moment and choose early and often. So we're going to choose, and I'll let you guys vote at the end of this scope for what we're going to look at next week on next week's book club, because we're still going to do this book for the next 3 Fridays. But tonight we're going to look at the act as if rule, and that's really the power of imagination and visualization, which we've touched upon before on a few other scopes. You know, visualizing kind of the goal that you want to achieve as already having accomplished it before you've accomplished it. You know, to make it easier for you to actually, you know, go and obtain that thing. Using your imagination, tapping into your imagination. It's one of the most powerful things that we have as human beings. We're one of very few species on the planet that has an imagination, according to science. So I want to look at that tonight. And then obviously on the next few scopes we'll cover the other chapters as well. But yeah, I just think this will be interesting, regardless of whether you're an actor or not, to just remind yourself of some of the skills that you've probably already got. You don't necessarily need to learn, you just need to remember when you're out and about and actually, you know, kind of put them into things that you might not normally put them into. Let me know if you're ready to roll, guys, and we'll get into the first little bit. Can't read the whole chapter. Normally what I do on these book clubs, guys, I give you kind of like edited highlights. So you'll see that I highlight particular sections. Kim, you're here. Good evening. So if you want to read the rest of the chapter, get a more in-depth look at it as well. Obviously you can go and you can buy the book on Amazon as well. I think this was about £12, £14, something like that. I bought it a couple of weeks ago. If you're watching the replay, you can click on the link below this video as well, and you can go straight through to Amazon to check that out, so you don't need to bother looking for it. Starts off with a quote. We're good, Kim, we're good. We're about to start the book. Are you ready or what? You've missed all the intro, but don't worry about it. We'll just fly into it. Starts with a quote from Meryl Streep. And she says, "I believe in imagination. I did Kramer versus Kramer before I had children." So if you know about Kramer versus Kramer, the film, it was about a man and a woman who were getting divorced, and the children who were kind of like in the middle of it all. Good evening, Warren. And she says, so I did Kramer and Kramer before I had children, but the mother I would be was already inside me. So she already knew through visualization and through this acting as if rule that we're going to look at tonight, how she would be with a mother, as a mother. So yeah, that's from Meryl Streep. She's been pretty successful as an actress. I am plugged in, Kim. I've got my coffee. I'm on airplane mode, and we're ready to rock. You're gonna resonate with this first paragraph, guys. It says most of us have experienced it. Okay, that antsy feeling. He's American, so he uses antsy. I don't think we use it as Brits that much, but yeah, the antsy feeling that we're out of place or insecure in certain social, public, or personal situations when we're the centre of attention. We can't find that mental release from our discomfort, even when we're in the midst of an opportunity that interests us. Whether a date or a speaking opportunity or a job interview, we hear the inner voice saying, "This is not you," or maybe a voice of authority from our distant past saying, "You really don't belong here." That sense of not fitting in or being ready for the spotlight is a reality the vast majority of us face at one point or another. But there is a way to control this feeling. We turn to our second principle, so second principle in this book, which actors call acting as if. So if you are an actor, which loads of people on this scope are, because I know you guys, and I am as well, you might have heard of the acting as if principle if you did training, or you know, some people might term it, you know, something else. But I think as we go through it, you'll kind of understand it. But you'll see how people who aren't actors can actually implement this in their life, particularly sports people or people who are going after things where they're stretching themselves. Is that kind of subconscious anxiety? I guess it is, Sasha. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's imposter syndrome, which is what I've termed it before. So you know, I mean, I before I started scoping, this is scope 75, by the way, guys, right? So scope 1, before that night, before I hit broadcast, when you actually do a Periscope, I had this, and I'm like, I've been an actor for, you know, over a decade. I'm used to speaking in public, I'm used to coaching people, but I'd never done it in a forum where people I hadn't invited could come and watch. So there was loads of eyeballs going to be on me that I hadn't necessarily invited along, weren't necessarily going to be supportive. You know, sometimes people jump on these scopes and then just give me a load of shit and like, you know, like just write crazy comments at the bottom that I have to try. You know, I'm pretty good at fighting back. But yeah, you open yourself up to that situation where you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for this, or, you know, should I be doing this? And you feel that little bit of imposter syndrome. You might have got it, Sasha, when you started presenting, because you started presenting recently. So Sasha's an actress, started doing some TV presenting for Bay TV in Liverpool. You might have thought that before you interviewed your first person, like, this isn't for me, this isn't what I'm supposed to do, you know, felt like a little bit of an imposter. We all do it, but we can get through it by using this as if principle. So let me explain a little bit more about it. So Michael says, what is acting as if? Well, acting as if is an imagination technique for converting what we see as adverse circumstances in work or life into new and more aspirational opportunities. When you're acting as if, you are using your brain's amazing powers to positively anticipate and create a different way of seeing the world. Sasha says, yeah, a little bit out of place when she was new to that presenting. So you'll get this, Sasha. It's a technique that helps overcome negative behaviours and attitudes that hold you back, so you can begin to make more conscious and intentional choices about how you want to perform and what you want to achieve when it matters. In the words of Mark Twain, write this down as a quote. This is a brilliant quote from Mark Twain. In the words of Mark Twain, you cannot depend on your eyes if your imagination is out of focus. Selena, good evening. Write this quote down, Selena. You cannot depend on your eyes if your imagination is out of focus. So if you're going into that situation, Sasha, going, I'm not a TV presenter, I'm not an interviewer, I'm an actress, and that's a totally different skill, then all you're going to see is that, because your imagination isn't going into it going, well, Sasha, act as if you are a presenter. You've done this hundreds of times before. You've been through your first interview and it all went well. I mean, you're imagining this and visualizing this as if before you actually do it. And then your imagination and your eyes are going to see that, as opposed to them being incongruent. So one more time, Mark Twain says, you cannot depend on your eyes if your imagination is out of focus. I love that. Michael then says, why and how to act as if? Sasha says, yeah, I struggled with that before, especially with new things. Everybody does with new things. It makes us uncomfortable, and naturally we want to run away from discomfort towards comfort. So Michael says, why and how to act as if? He says, but how does one get into the mindset to act as if? How do you master this technique? Well, one key is understanding something known as disclosive spaces. So understanding disclosive spaces. Okay, this may sound academic, but there are great insights to be gleaned from this concept. So write that down as well. Disclosive spaces. D-I-S-C-L-O-S-I-V-E. Disclosive spaces. So a disclosive space is the way each of us sees the world and operates in it. Our personal perspective, basically. But more than that, it's our way of understanding how different complexities are interrelated and how they fit together and how we fit into them. So how the situation we're in fits together and how we fit into that situation. Okay, so children can rarely understand things outside of their disclosive space. But as our brains mature, we develop the potential to see and understand in-depth things that are outside our own experience. So things that are outside our experience is outside of our disclosive space. So it says, imagine you and your colleague have a conflict over a work-related issue. You think he went behind your back and spoke badly about you. You confront him about it and he says that he's the one who's been betrayed because you didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't matter who's right and who's wrong, but if you can't say, I'm going to look at this as if I were him, so out of your disclosive space and into his disclosive space, then how can you resolve the conflicts? Well, you can't, can you? So if you can't get yourself out of, going into that interview, that first one, thinking, I'm an imposter, I should be doing this, and out of your disclosive space into someone else's disclosive space, which is, I am a presenter, I've done this hundreds of times before, I can do this, and it already went really well, then you can't necessarily resolve that conflict in your brain. So he says, as adults, we allow our disclosive spaces to narrow as we become so busy or caught up in our daily activities that we neglect other points of reference and unique perspectives. So you might have people in your life who just can't ever seem to see anything but from their own perspective. They feel that life happens to them all the time. It never happens for them. Okay, it's like, woe me, oh, this is always terrible, this always happens to me, people always take me for granted, blah, 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 I can never have a successful relationship, people always cheat on me, all this kind of stuff. It's like, actually, the only common denominator out of all of those things is you. So maybe it's you, and the fact that you can't get out of your disclosive space, which is holding you back. So the as if technique can help you use your imagination and life experiences to inhabit disclosive spaces as part of the journey. I started saying that in the mirror. I can do this when I feel a bit anxious anyway. Good, Sasha. Good internal positive dialogue, that is. Empowering dialogue. So I'll say that again. The as-if technique can help you use your imagination and life experiences to inhabit disclosive spaces as part of your journey to achieve your goals. It's a way of being mindful of other people and circumstances and incorporating that knowledge into how you live and work. Events such as speeches, team meetings or networking get-togethers teem with new disclosive spaces to inhabit. So every new thing you go for is a new disclosive space effectively that you can inhabit, and you can go, well, this is out of my space, this is out of what I normally do. Let's go into this and look at it, you know, as if I'm looking at things from a different perspective. So the power of imagination is the next bit, and this is where it starts it'll all start coming together now. You'll start understanding this. It says, I started this chapter talking about imagination, learning to act as if. It's not about visualizing idle fantasies about wealth and power. Acting as if is about using the brain's amazing powers of imagination to learn, change, and experience new things. The majority of mental health professionals, and this is what I love because I love the science, and neuroscientists say that this is healthy because you're refocusing the brain on productive, pro-social, and contributory behaviours. It can also be transformational. There's a bookshelf of research on the effectiveness of imagination and cognition to improve one's athletic performance. So there's been loads of studies done with athletes on this. Athletic performance and overall health and well-being, and even aging as well. So research on visualization shows that imagining the execution of a task successfully contributes to more positive outcomes. Brain scans, this is interesting, support this by showing that visualization triggers a shift from the left to the right brain hemisphere. So this transfer from the left, which is your logical brain, your left side of your brain is all your logical stuff, to the right side of your brain, which is all your creative imagination, enhances visual imagery and actually creates new neural patterns in the brain. So you visualizing success before you've had it will physically, form new neurological pathways within your brain, and they can see this through imaging. Okay, when an athlete visualizes success, their body really is experiencing success, observes Dr. Bernie Siegel, the author of Love, Medicine and Miracles. That sounds like a good book, doesn't it? Love, Medicine and Miracles. I've never heard of it, but check it out. When you imagine something, your body really feels like it's happening. Acting as if is just that. Okay, who said that's absolutely true? Madden Tosca said that's absolutely true. Okay, acting as if is just that. Strategic imagination aiming you in the right direction for successful personal and business performance. So who's used this, before we go on to the last little bit, who's used this and has experienced, success through it? I've done this before, honestly, I don't know, some people call it arrogance, I guess. Before you go into a job interview or an audition or whatever, and you're like, and people are like, how do you think you're going to do? I'm going to kill it, mate. I've already got the job. I'm going to smash it. I've already done it. It's easy. And it's not a matter of going, oh, I'm the best, I think I'm brilliant, because sometimes I've done that and it hasn't worked. But I've still given a great performance in the room because I've not been anxious. I've just been like, I'm going to do it. It's not part of cosmic ordering. Well, I struggle with this, Warren, because of the science stuff, and I've explained some of the science a lot of the time behind The Secret before and that kind of thing, and I don't believe for a second that I can say, universe, shower me with money, women, success, love, happiness. I don't think you can. What I think you can do is you can condition your state of being to a point where you can make that happen for yourself. Ultimately, I think it all comes down to you, and I think those people who, it's nice, isn't it, to believe in it's almost like religion, isn't it? It's lovely to believe that, everything happens for a reason, every situation, is destiny, it's all going to, it's all going to come to me, I'm going to meet the girl of my dreams completely by accident, she's just going to appear one day, or Prince Charming's just going to turn up on the doorstep one day. I think that's, I don't want to use the word bullshit because I use that quite liberally, but I think whatever you want in your life, you have to work for it, and I think that applies to everything, including relationships and all the other stuff that you want. And I don't think that's being pessimistic at all. I think it's actually just taking control of your own destiny. And I definitely believe in what you put out there, you get back. So if you're putting out great contributions to the world, naturally the world is going to contribute to you. The world will ask of any price, will pay any price you ask of it, without a doubt. But a lot of times, by sitting back and just waiting for cosmic ordering, you're not asking the world for very much, because you're just expecting it to happen. If you actually ask more and go out to get that, then I think you've got more chance of getting it. But definitely just getting yourself into the right frame of mind. And you know what? If doing the cosmic ordering thing is part of your little shtick that gets you into that positive state of being, then that's awesome, and that works for you, then absolutely. But I'm kind of like Mr. Science, so I'm like, right, where's the evidence? And then when I hear things like this, going, actually, we can see inside our heads when we're doing these brain imaging things. You got to go in with that confidence and believe in yourself, because then others will believe. Exactly, Nina. No, definitely. And when through this visualization technique, scientists, like I say, can literally see. And they're called engrams. They're literally connections in your brain that like memories are formed through engrams and things like that. So if you're imagining that something's already happened and you've succeeded before you have, then a positive kind of engram has already formed. It's almost like a positive memory to go, yeah, I've already done it, it was easy, so I can go and do it again, of course I can. And it just instills you with this bulletproof confidence that you can just go, these things raise the levels of like testosterone in your body. For men and women, testosterone isn't just something that men utilise or anything like that. It lowers cortisol, which is our stress hormone. It just makes you more relaxed. It regulates your breathing. I've accomplished this more as I get older. Confidence, not arrogance, is key. Yeah, absolutely. It's not an arrogance, because you've got to be able to deliver the goods, haven't you? You can go in super confident, but if actually you're shit and you've not practiced, then you ain't going to get anything anyway. You're not going to get anywhere, no matter how much wishful thinking you do, you're not going to get anywhere if you can't back it up. I put a tweet out yesterday, which is quite funny, that said, amateurs practice till they get it right, professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. And I used the spelling Practice, which is actually the noun to practice, but it's kind of, in British English, considered that it's kind of acceptable to use as the verb as well. Some journalist tweeted me back, no they don't, they practice, Practise. Thought, there you go, that's ultimately, that's the difference between like a positive outlook on life and a negative outlook on life. Go, you've missed the point completely, okay? You basically just looked at that in such a skeptical, critical way that you've just, you ruin it for yourself, and you're always just going to have that issue with your life. But it did make me laugh. So yeah, I just think, Warren, that it's definitely down to getting your state of being consistently high, and that's what I try and do through Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success, the mindset course that you're going through at the moment. The idea is that we don't have peaks and troughs that are rapid and big happening in our lives, that basically our state of being gets to a point where even when we're not having a great day, it's still at like 90%, and on a brilliant day it's like 98%, 99%. So when you're falling back down, things aren't necessarily going right, or you're a little bit stressed, you're still at like 70-80%, where most people will be back down like 10%, 5%. And using these visualization techniques are going to really help keep your state of being up there. So Michael says, how can we use acting as if? So this is interesting. He says, acting as if is also a strategy for dealing with anxiety and worry. It helps us stay balanced and organizes our focus. It's one of the ways you'll reduce stage fright. So if anybody's had stage fright, listen to this, okay? Stage fright can occur anytime you're in the spotlight, not literally on a stage, okay? I.e., when you're leading a meeting, giving a speech, being interviewed, doing a Periscope like this. And Michael says, or even docking a boat, okay? He says, I have a decent sized boat, and even though I'm a United States Coast Guard licensed captain, it can be pretty tricky to dock a boat when weather conditions aren't favourable. So I visualise the entire process before I start. This works like a charm. I imagine that I'm going to dock the boat in this slip as if I've done it 10,000 times. Most good old salty captains with whom I've talked about this tell me they do the same thing, even though they in fact really have already docked the boat 10,000 times. By acting as if, you begin to shift your consciousness from self-defeating ways of thinking into new conscious directions. It may seem simple in its approach, but the power of positive visualization lets your brain rehearse what lies ahead, so that when your big performance arrives, it seems as if you've already done that speech thousands of times before. This is what rehearsal is for. The acting as if technique is one to keep handy for emergencies too. It can be surprisingly helpful in difficult but ultimately manageable times when you may not be at your best, coping with a personal issue or even just dealing with a lingering cold. But using an as if approach will work when you know the show must go on. You know how body language, and we talked about this on the training the other night as well, Warren, and for everyone else who was on the Bulletproof Actor training. Sasha thinks anxiety is common amongst actors. I do as well, definitely. But we spoke about body language on the Bulletproof Actor training, Warren. It says you know how body language affects how others see you, but it may also change how you see yourself. Harvard University social psychologist Amy Cuddy, who we mentioned on the training as well, this is just all kind of like deja vu now, is a posture and confidence specialist. She says that power posing, and we spoke about this, what power poses are, standing in a posture of confidence basically, even when you don't feel confident, can raise your testosterone levels whilst reducing cortisol levels in your brain. In fact, Cuddy's research paper called Power Posing, Brief Non-Verbal Displays Affect Neuroendocrine Levels, quite a academic title for the research paper, but it's published in 2010 by the Association for Psychological Science. It said that it showed that various power poses increased testosterone levels by 20% and decreased cortisol levels by 25%. And that's basically where you literally just stand on your own with your legs apart, like in a star shape like this, for 120 seconds, for 2 minutes. I know it sounds bonkers and I look absolutely mental, but the more space you can take up with a pose for 2 minutes, the more empowered you feel before you go on and do something. So if you can find a cubicle, like we said, yeah, it says Selena, in a cubicle, in a toilet, before you go into your audition. Also standing hands on hips, like a Wonder Woman kind of pose as well, is another good one as well. And you can do it whilst laid down, or like this, leant back as well, that's another one that you can do. 2 minutes of that before you go and do something. Nothing wrong with pretending you're in the Lion King, says Sasha, definitely. But that's proven. Literally just that to raise testosterone levels, lower cortisol levels. Testosterone's linked to taking risks, so you're more likely to go into a room and take a risk and get out of your comfort zone if you've got a higher level of testosterone in your body. So by doing that power pose will help you get that. I have a big audition on Sunday. I need to find someone on the train to do that. Definitely, Warren, do it and let us know how it goes. I know it'll go really well for you. But Michael says that's a pretty dramatic representation of the power of acting as if. In fact, Cuddy's motto, so many people say this these days, don't they? She coined it, I think, though. She said, fake it until you make it, okay, which you now see actually has biological implications. So I'm not just saying this as, woo, go and just act like you're going to do it before you do it, because that's what you should do. Psychologically and scientifically, it's proven. Everyone's saying, good luck, Warren, good luck with that audition, mate. So it has biological implications. Of course, the best part is that you can do it authentically. Panic attacks are another. Oh, I missed that one, Kat. This is method acting, is it not? I see it as something else, Fanny. So method acting, I would see as like, you know, famous method acting. Oh God, who's? In fact, I think Michael even mentions it a couple of times. But there was something called, remember, like, there's something called Marathon Man that Dustin Hoffman was in, I think, and he was in it. I think he was in it with Laurence Olivier, or Laurence Olivier was Dustin Hoffman's friend anyway. And Dustin Hoffman stayed up for 3 nights with no sleep because in Marathon Man, that's what his character did. And one day on set, and Laurence Olivier was voted the best actor literally on the planet at this time, as we have like the Olivier Awards today. And Dustin's like this on set, and he's falling asleep between takes. And Olivier just goes, not to be patronising or anything, just goes, Dustin, man, listen, mate, how about you just try and act? You know, not to like patronise him or put him down, but just to say that actually you're killing yourself. This method acting, you can take it too far. And I'm very much like that. You know what? I think if I'm supposed to be out of breath in a scene, and I'm just supposed to have run around like the field 10 times. Before we do the scene, yeah, let me run around the field once, and I'll be out of breath authentically. You know, stuff like that, totally up for in terms of method acting. But staying up for 3 nights on the trot, I'm not doing that. In method, I mean, we are living it as if in order to create imagined circumstances. As it, yeah, no, definitely, yeah. You know, yeah, I suppose in that sense it absolutely is. Yeah, it's you know, it's just getting yourself into state as if it's. I guess it's an extra rehearsal, isn't it? So it's like before you even went for your first rehearsal, you've already rehearsed it in your head once, so you've already done it. You've already lived it effectively. I guess in that sense, yeah, you could class it as something similar to method acting, yeah, certainly. But I think it's really, really powerful. So to finish up, Michael says, as with any sustained commitment to learning new ideas, the more you invest in acting as if, and the other performance techniques that we're going to go through in this book, the more these ways of being will translate to gains in your public interactions. This is a great quote. Okay, Ralph Waldo Emerson said this, another one for you to write down if you're into writing these things down. I do. The mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions. That's top, innit? So the mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions. So once you've already lived that, before you've actually lived it, you've already stretched your mind. So it's never going to go back to its original dimensions. So you've just got to see it and visualize it before you've done it. You're going to feel like you can achieve it more. And I guess the as if could potentially work against you. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point, Fanny. Really, really, really good point. Don't, whatever you do, use this to go as if I've already failed, or I've already lost all my money, or I've already lost my girlfriend, or my marriage, or my friends, or my family, my house. Definitely, that's a really good point. I didn't even think of mentioning that, Fanny, but yeah, good, really, really good point. Definitely, you only use this for a force of good, kids, okay? Definitely. Fanny says that can be a huge fault of mine. It can be a huge fault of everybody's. It's absolutely part of our lives. Limiting beliefs, something that everybody struggles with, and those going through Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success. No, keep banging on about it, but it's something that it's like my best life's work, effectively, on mindset coaching and high performance coaching. It's designed to break all that shit down, and I hope everybody is enjoying it. So I know Selena's on the call tonight, who's going through the program. Warren is, you know, I hope everybody's, you know, really getting a lot from it. My phrase is I'm Anne, not Anne. Oh, you have to say that again. I missed that. Miss Helen Power. That's it, isn't it? I missed that. Miss Power. It's something I'm getting better at, says Kim. Lulu's here. Good evening. So last little bit. The act as if technique gives you the opportunity to become the thing you're imagining yourself to be. So you're going to become the thing you're imagining yourself to be. It gives you that opportunity. You act as if you're in charge. You act as if you are calm. Like to dip in and out of different techniques, but like the truth, feel the moment of Meisner. Bit of love for Meisner there. So you act as if you look forward to speaking to large groups, and slowly those things become more and more true, and your performances become more and more natural. Your imagination is a powerful asset. If it can make you think small, it can also ensure you think big. If it can make you feel small, it can ensure that you feel big. Eventually, acting as if becomes acting as is. End of chapter. But how good's that? I just think it's so true, and I've seen it crop up so many times in my life. So many times in. Oh, don't worry, Mary. I'll just read out lots of quotes randomly. Sasha's mind is blown. I know only how to act using the as if technique, as it's kind of the only way to. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, this is Michael. Effectively, you know, he wrote this book for non-actors. I wanted to read it to actors because I think we need to remind ourselves of the skills we already have. And you know, acting as if, effectively, yeah, he's saying, you know, to people who would struggle with any kind of situation, you know, in the non-acting world, like doing a speech, going to a job interview, getting out of their comfort zone. You've got to just act as if. You know, it's a really, really powerful skill that we all have because we do it on a job. But do we do it in our lives? That's what I want to ask you. Thank you. Someone says inspiring. Thanks very much. Defo getting the book. Honestly, get it. Defo. We're going to be looking at it for the next 3 weeks as well. It's a really cool book. Michael also has a podcast as well. If you go to iTunes, Michael Port. You can follow me on Twitter as well, and on Instagram and stuff like that. But he's just a really great guy, and he does a thing, course. It's quite expensive. He does a program called Heroic Public Speaking, which I might do at some point. I'm always up for constant improvement. So it's great. It's a really good book, fan it. Honestly, really, really good. The podcast, I don't know what it's called, but just search for Michael Port. It'll be something about public speaking or speaking this, that, or the other. I don't know. I can't remember. I listened to an episode just on the way to a voiceover today, but it's good. Warren says he found it earlier. It is really, really good. I've just downloaded the audiobook as well. I always tend to get like the book and the audiobook. I like to make notes on the actual book, but I like someone reading it me, particularly if it's been read by the author who's written it as well. I find you get loads of good stuff. Just putting the book name on iTunes. Awesome, Warren. Good. But yeah, I just thought, it's a good reminder, isn't it? Because as actors, we use all these techniques to get into character, in an audition, in our work. But how much do we use these techniques in our life if we want to achieve things? I'm talking outside the acting industry. You want to achieve greatness in your physicality, in your emotional mastery, in your spirituality, in your relationships. How much of this as if technique do we use there, or are we just using it in the audition room? It's a waste if we are. So yeah, use it more and more in your everyday life. So next week, guys, we're going to look at one of the other powerful principles of performance, powerful performance principles that Michael talks about. You can vote now. We've got, let me see, I won't make it too difficult because I don't want to give you too many choices because there's 5 we haven't looked at. Raise the stakes. I think that could be a good one. Say yes and. Okay, so you've got to say yes and, because a lot of people, I talk about the value of saying no to things. This is a different kind of thing. This isn't saying like no to yourself, in order to say yes to other people and say no to yourself. This is actually saying yes and in life, because a lot of people they kind of like close their barriers down. They don't carry on opportunities or situations, to the advantage that they could do. We've got be in the moment or choose early and often. So raise the stakes, say yes and, be in the moment, choose early and often. So we've got 1 for be in the moment, 2 for be in the moment. Anyone else? We've got say yes and, 1 for yes and. So we've got be in the moment, yes and. Anyone else for yes and? 3. What was 3? Be in the moment, oh, we got 4. Be in the moment, smashed it. So it's be in the moment then. So we're going to look at being in the moment. And the great thing about this as well is the chapters are quite punchy. Be in the moment is only 7 pages. So if you don't particularly like reading long books and you just want to, digest it section at a time, I made sure that the videos in Bulletproof Actor and Unstoppable Confidence and Infinite Success, which I've mentioned again, they're all bite-sized. There's like 35 of them, but they're small. Some of them are only 5 minutes. A couple of them like 20 minutes, but most of them, the majority are small, because I think we like to take in information in bite-sized chunks. And I wanted to ask for some feedback as well, because sometimes I think, and this is through reading this book, Sash has changed their mind for being in the moment. Yeah, let me know about these scopes. Okay, so these periscopes that we do through reading this book. This is what I've learned from Michael. He says sometimes you'll get a public speaker who will come on and they'll blow your mind with loads of stuff, and they'll give you like loads and loads and loads of information, and you come away from that speech going, oh my God, wasn't Dave, or whatever his name is, wasn't he just an amazing guy? Like, he just knows so much, but I don't really know where to start. So he's giving you so much information, you're kind of overloaded by it, and you're like, oh God, that's brilliant. He obviously knows what he's talking about, but I haven't got a clue. Where do I start? That's why tonight I've just focused on as if, nothing else. We're just going, that's all we're talking about. Because I think sometimes I come on these scopes and we're talking about a topic in general, but I might give you like 6 slides on there might be 6 ways to get something or something like that. And I'm like, am I kind of overloading you with information, or do you find the majority of these kind of like easy to follow? And I know we normally at the end go, right, pick one of those that you're going to do this week. I don't expect you to do all 6 things or whatever. You just choose one. But let me know if you would prefer to just, drill down into just one very specific thing. The scopes might end up being shorter, but if that would be easier for you. It's the only problem I found with certain books I've come across, too much information. Yeah. Prefer small segments, says Lulu. Definitely. Sash says what you do is great. As long as you kind of, you guys understand it and you can go away and implement it, ultimately that's it. And I'm a massive advocate of action. If you can't take yourself away from these scopes and put that into action, it's difficult. Your scopes are always amazingly, you can always replay them as well. Oh yeah, because there is, thank you Warren, and there is the replay as well. Yes, you can always go through them a little bit easier. It's easy to follow and brightens me up for the days ahead. Definitely has an effect. Amazing. Fret not. love what you're doing. Massive fan. Oh, that's great. I just wanted to just check with you guys that it wasn't too much, because I just thought then, I thought, oh, okay, I've been in that situation before where I've been to seminars and I'm like, God, that guy's amazing, or that girl's amazing. But I don't quite know where to start implementing the stuff they've talked about in my own life, because there's just so much of it. And I've made changes since just because of Periscope. Well, that's amazing. I would love it, guys, if you would tweet that kind of feedback, so I can just spread the word on these as well. I'm not saying that for self-gratuity or anything like that. It's just so that we can get the bigger audience we get, the more I can do with these things. I've been following you a short while, definitely made a difference. Thank you, Mary. I quite like the way you do it. Maybe just one scope a month where we focus on one thing. Yeah, we could do just one short or one a week, maybe. So like on a Monday it might only be like a 10-minute. Wednesday we can expand, and then Friday we do book club. Maybe that's a way to to do it. But I just want to make sure that you guys can take things away from these and implement it into your life. Because it's very easy for me to sit here going, right, here's 6 ways to do this, or here's 6 body language hacks, and you're going, I can't remember 5 of them. But as long as you guess, I guess as long as you take one, you're winning, aren't you? You can implement just one into your life. Fanny says do more. I don't think I could have time to do more, Fanny, honestly. I'm pretty stretched, but I would do as much as I can. I'm going to start doing Act on This. The new version of the website is almost ready. It's going to launch in about 2 weeks' time. Do the power pose, Mary, good on you. And I'm going to start doing some really high-end multi-camera video interviews that are going to be like broadcast quality video interviews. I'm so excited for those. If you've got any kind of suggestions for guests, I'm going to set a studio up at Media City in Salford Quays in Manchester, where we're going to do them, and they're going to be next level. It's going to be like nothing you've probably seen in this industry before. If you've got any guests or anything, I want to do potentially some round tables as well with some pretty famous actors, more than one at a time, so they can. I think it's sometimes interesting to see super successful actors talking to each other as well, as opposed to just one. Where they kind of sometimes don't want to spill the beans on everything. When you get more than one in a room together, they've got similar experiences. Beverly Keogh is an interesting one. I've known Beverly years. She's lovely. She does little shout outs to my Christmas videos and things, but to Anthony Mindel, I did Selena, I've done, I don't know if you've seen it, I've done a broadcast with Anthony Mindel not long ago, late last year, and you can find it on actonthis.tv. If you go into the broadcast section, go to actonthis.tv, click broadcast, and then you can watch that. I think it was an hour and I think probably spent like an hour and 20 minutes with him. We did it. How did you miss that? I don't know how you missed that. Anthony's a great guy. I'm a big advocate of his stuff. Got all his books. Read all Anthony's stuff. His Alphabet Soup for Grown-Ups. Great book from Anthony Mindel. Yeah, he's kind of like a kindred spirit on everything that I do. I think there's a few of us in the industry who kind of think that this is more important than the acting training, because I really believe it is. I don't think you can be a good actor if you've not got your shit sorted out upstairs effectively. Did you get the new book called Book the King Job? No, I haven't, but I will get that at some point. And I will. I've seen it, yeah, and I will get it, and we'll probably do it on a book club as well, because it's a cool book. I will check that out. But yeah, if you follow him on Instagram, he's crazy, isn't he? Great guy though. But yeah, if you go to actonthis.tv, click on broadcast. In fact, let me just see. I'll make sure that it's up on the site, and I'll show you where you can find it. So, broadcasts. So if you go to the site and then go into the broadcast section, there's Annie from Hollyoaks, lovely woman. Not that one, not that. There he is. Boom. There's Mindel. If I turn him that way, we'll probably get a better look at it. Better look at the post. It says 3 simple steps to solid acting success. Live broadcast with Anthony Mindel. But yeah, top bloke, really good guy. So go to actonthis.tv and check it out. Awesome. So that's it really for this book club, guys. So it's really all about acting as if. What can you do this weekend that you can basically go and act as if in order to have more success? Are we gonna get to all meet up soon? Faces, yes, we are. We're gonna do a meet up. I think this is going to be get an agent on, Ross. Let's hear their perspective. Yeah, will do, definitely. I will sort that out as well, Nina. I've got a provisional pencil date in for an Act on This and Bulletproof Actor meet up in Manchester at Home, the theatre Home, awesome space. Saturday the 12th in 8 days time. Hopefully you can make it. It's not kind of, I've not put it out officially, but that was the date that I was going to put out probably this weekend to see if people could make it for that day. So it's a week tomorrow. Sam says he's there in the evening. Well, we normally do the meetups from 10:30 or 11 in the morning, just for a couple of hours when we've done them in the past. And people just get together, we have a brew, we have a chat, coffee, cake. It's great, it's really good. Get your agent on, Nina. See what he does all day. Amazing. Coming down at the end of the month. But awesome, yeah. So 12th of March. We're gonna have unofficial ones as well. I think the official one probably will be Saturday, 12th of March, and then we can just do official ones as well. Unofficial ones that, whenever people are around, and it's great. It's really good on the Facebook groups. If you're not part of the Facebook group, guys, you watch us on the replay, go to facebook.com/groups/ActOnThisTV, or also /groups/Bulletproof Actor, come join the Facebook group, because we've got people to kind of, community kind of leaders, I guess, kind of emerging in the group, who are setting up an official meetups and things like that, and that's brilliant, because it is a real community. It's not like, I want to create leaders, not followers. So true leaders create leaders, not followers. It's totally true. So I want other people to stand up in the group and take lead and go, right, I'm going to organise an unofficial meetup here. Let's all get together. When I'm not there, that's totally cool. When you contact agents, should you do follow-up calls? Sorry for the question. I don't think it does any harm to follow up just to say, just checking you've got. I sent an email in 2 or 3 days ago. I just wanted to check that it had been received. I don't expect a reply now or anything like that, but I'm just making sure that it's been received. And no one will think bad of you for doing that at all. And that puts your mind at rest. At least that they've got it. It jogs their memory, that maybe they'll go, oh, I'll have a look at it now. I've got 5 minutes. Definitely. But yeah, one massive thing in this industry that holds nearly every actor back that I know is fear. And it's generally fear of contact. Oh, I couldn't possibly contact that agent. Oh, I couldn't possibly contact that casting director. I couldn't possibly ask that actor for a favour. Bullshit. The only way you're going to get further in your career faster is by finding people who've already done what you want to do, already got what you want, you want to have. So seek those people out, and agents need you as much as you need agents. Totally a partnership. There's no hierarchy there whatsoever. I look at my agent Jane as a business partner, great friend, and I don't worry about giving her a call or asking anything like that, because it is, it's genuine business, and we both have to make a living, and when we work well together, we both are more successful. Trying proper scared of no contact back. Just just go for it. Act as if you've already spoke to that person before you've got them on the phone. Just act as if you've made 1,000 calls to agents before and you're totally confident and all they've ever said to you is good things. Don't act as if you're going to get rejected, because ultimately that will just, that's the fear, isn't it? It's not the fear, and it's rejection. And we looked on a scope not long ago that rejection to a point where it really affects your life only happens on average 7 times in a lifetime. So you'll only ever be rejected to a point where it affects who you are as a person 7 times in a lifetime. Yet you'll be accepted or encouraged thousands of times in a lifetime. So what do we focus on as idiots? Oh, well, we just focus on all the times being rejected and we expect it to happen time and time again. It's nonsense. I'm going for it because of this, really. It was holding back before. Do it, and then post in the Facebook group when you've had a reply. But yeah, what can they say? What's absolutely the worst that can happen? Not that your phone's this size. Hi, yeah. Just don't take up too much of your time. Just wondering. I sent you an email just a couple of days ago with my headshot on my CV. I just wasn't quite sure of the email address. I wanted to just double check that you've got it. Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, it's Kat. Oh, okay. Oh, brilliant. Thanks. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so you review them every 2 weeks. Brilliant. Okay, yeah, thanks ever so much. Brilliant. Thank you. Bye. There you go, they review them every 2 weeks, that's why I've not heard back. It wasn't because they hate me and they think I'm shit and they hated my face, just because they didn't look at it yet. So yeah, don't fear that. It's just bollocks. They're just a person. It's just a person on the end of the phone. Literally, it's just a person. They're no better than you. When you realise that, as Steve Jobs says, that this world, this planet, this society around you was made up of people. The rules have been made up and put in place. Good actor, thanks Nina. These rules have been put in place by people who are no smarter and no better than you. Okay, when you realise that, your life will never be the same again. But whilst you fear rejection really from people you feel are superior. Bollocks! It's not the case at all. They're just people doing a job. Okay, and they're probably just as scared of rejection as you when they phone casting agents and they go, no, we don't want any of your actors. When they phone casting directors. They're just human beings, okay? So get on the phone. You know what? Just be nice. As long as you're nice in life, from my experience, nobody's generally a dick to you, as long as you're just nice. Send them on Thursday, we'll calm down now. Good, you only sent them on Thursday? It's only Friday? Bloody hell. It's just what shit that was yesterday. I suffer with how to relieve the self-conscious anxiety more than anything. Just act as if, right, Tony Robbins, one of the most successful thought leaders in the world. I don't want to call him a life coach, he's more like, he coaches people more on like personal change and just winning and success and stuff. And a mentor of his, a guy called Jim Rohn, said to him, because Tony said, Jim, look, I have a really bad time with money. I have a really bad relationship with money. I don't feel I'm going to have any. I don't feel I deserve any. I basically feel that money's going to reject me all the time, and I'm anxious around it. He said, Tony, save up $300. Not a lot of money, but save up $300 and go and get that $300 changed into 3 $100 bills. Even if you've got $10 left in your life and it's all $1 bills, wrap those 3 $100 bills around the 10 $1 bills. And every time you go in your pocket to retrieve one of those $1, you're going to flick through the 3 $100 bills. It's acting as if you've made it already. It's having an abundance mindset where you're living as if you've got loads of $100 bills in your life. Look, there they are. And now Tony's one of the richest, most successful people in the world, and probably contributes more positively than, I don't know, less than 0.5% or whatever on this planet. Such an amazing guy. And he was self-made. He's completely, he had all that anxiety about everything like that. But the more you can live in abundance, so the more that, effectively, I would encourage people to spend more. I know that can sound counterintuitive because it's like, oh, we've got to be frugal and save. The more frugal you are and the more kind of like scrimping and scraping and putting it under your mattress when it comes to money that you do, the more that's going to kind of reward that kind of mindset where you're constantly scrimping and scraping for stuff. The more you can kind of live with abundance within your limits, so it's not going to make you homeless or really in debt. The more you're going to kind of like feel that that's normal. You're going to live as if you've got it, and you're going to attract it. And it's not because it's going to be magic and it's going to come towards you. You're just going to see more opportunities to get it because you're going to be in a better frame of mind and a higher state of being in order to accomplish those things that you want. Whereas if you're pinching every single penny, oh, I can't possibly spend that 50p, or I'm going to get Asda's own brand, or Lidl's own brand beans because they're 9p and Heinz are 40p. You're probably going to just live a cheap life, and particularly if you're cheap on your education. So many people email me to go, Ross, can you make Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success, which I've mentioned again, can you make it cheaper? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I know it was a pretty expensive product. It was £197 or £297. That's not cheap by any means, but it's world-class quality for a start. But I was like, I'm not going to make it cheaper because A, you're not going to value it as much. I wanted to email them back and say, no, I can't make it cheaper. But I want to ask you, can you earn more? Because I know the answer to that is yes. Okay, but whilst you are cheap in your life and cheap in your education and you don't spend any money, can you afford to invest in yourself? Yes, always. I promise you, always. You can always afford to invest in yourself. But people don't. People just go, oh, I have to save all this money and do all this kind of, scrimping and scraping because I'm never going to have any money. I don't deserve any money. And yeah, of course you're never going to have any money, you'll deserve it. Ross, what's the course name that you run? Thanks, Warren. Yeah, it's called it's called Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success. But there's going to be more courses, Warren, as well. Bulletproof Actor, the first one, UCIS, is just the first of many. There will be more courses, coming after that. I'm going to do one on productivity. I'm going to do one particularly on goal setting, a really in-depth but simple. It won't be that expensive either because it will only probably be 5 or 6 videos. Simple idea on goal setting because people don't do it enough. I like the idea of the inspiration boards too. Visualize, so you can have a vision board, Sasha. So yes, so a vision board would be literally like a cork board. You put it on the wall, and it just has maybe. Can you still hear me, guys? This is what I mean. I tell people I'm scoping at 10 o'clock and they just FaceTime me. Let me know. Let me know if you're still here. I think you are because the hearts are coming. I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah, so a vision board. So a vision board can be, I'm back now. If someone was FaceTiming me, it always happens when they FaceTime me. I've declined it. hopefully we'll be okay. Just for 2 more minutes, and then. Mentalist, I'm back. I'm back. Can you hear me now? Oh, it kicked me out again. I'm sorry, guys. Someone's FaceTiming me again. I'm going to ring it back in a minute. But yeah, vision board. So get a board, like a £5 cork board, dead cheap. Attach to it cutouts of images that are going to inspire you. Houses, cars, money, jobs, people, relationships, anything, you know, the gym, people in good shape, anything that's going to that's really going to inspire you. Get it on the board and put it up somewhere where you can see it every day. That's why I get people to, I have a declaration to become bulletproof within the course, and I get people to sign it at the start, frame it, and it's this, and then you put it somewhere where you see it every single day. And it reminds you of stuff. So this says, my past does not equal my future. There's always a way if I'm committed. It says things like, if I'm confused, I'm about to learn something. Every day above ground is a great day. And it just reminds you, because we need reminding, because we have a natural negativity bias in our brains which leads us towards negative stuff, because we needed to know about all that in the past. Our brains are wired perfectly for a world that no longer exists. We don't need to know about all the negative stuff necessarily these days. So I hope that's useful, guys. I hope you're still here as well, because I know I kicked you out a few times, but I'm going to let you go now. We've been on a while, but ultimately, yeah, from book club this week, just remember, start acting as if you've already done it. Visualize it, and literally, physically inside your head, your brain will start making new connections. You know, inside your head, that's going to change you physically. Remember what it said about athletes: when you visualize it, your body feels it. So you're going to feel more successful just by visualizing that success. Thanks again. No problem. Thank you, Sasha. That's awesome. I'm going to go and see who this is FaceTiming me. But have a fantastic weekend. Remember, act as if, and I'll see you Monday night, 10 p.m. for some motivation and mind hacks. And I have no idea what we're going to be talking about, but it will be great. So I promise you that. Thank you, Warren. Cheers. Holding on to my Oscar. Excellent, Selena. That's visualization for you. Lulu, thank you. Kat, thank you. Thanks for spending time with me. Appreciate you all. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you on Monday, guys. Bye for now.